Hey everyone, Luke Dog here, and welcome back to Charles! Sorry. Well, it's time to finally let this thing come to an end. We are finally going to get our revenge on Charles! Sorry. Just I've been wanting to catch this guy for so long. Almost there. Almost there. I'm coming for you, Lee. Last Drink Tavern. How fitting.
Why would they leave this behind?
Long have we waited for you to return. You have done as we asked. You have succeeded.
No! I have failed! My people are gone! Chased out by those who I thought would protect them!
It is a trade, a sacrifice, and not in vain. For you have found it.
This?
Now you must hide it, where none shall think to look. And then in time, what once was, shall be again.
I do not understand.
Nor need you. Only do as we ask. Then you may do as you wish.
But what of my people?
You have saved this place, as was your people's purpose. And that matters most.
It is not enough.
It will never be enough. You strive for that which does not exist. Still, you have made a difference, and you will do so again. Remember, you must hide the amulet where none might find it.
I know where the key is. Then let's go! Guess this is it.
We're right behind you.
First, before we do so, let's check any emails we have left. Do-do-do. Rebecca to Desmond. I'm scared. What if we don't find the key? What if we do but run out of time? What if whatever's down here doesn't work? I mean, what's changed? The first Civ tried to save themselves and failed. And this place is shut down and sealed up. Doesn't really feel like the sort of place we're going to find the answers to all our problems. Doesn't help that the people who brought us here are missing. I'm just worried this isn't going to work. I don't want to die. Apology. Forgive my outbursts. It has been a long time. I've been alone in this place for too long, waiting, hoping. Soon you will see all I have promised. Only hurry and find the key. Restore power to this place. Good news, bad news. Which would you like first? Not really the time for this. Okay, sorry. So much for injecting a little pre-Christmas cheer into these otherwise dour proceedings. The good news is that, as far as I can tell, the Eye Abstergo launch has been postponed, permanently. With Vidic dead, thanks to dear Desmond, and the Apple of Eden still safely in our possession, there's no way they'll make their date. I suppose there's always the chance they'll manage to retrieve another apple and start the whole process over, but all of our intel says they've got no leads. We're safe from that particular threat, at least for now. The bad news is that we've got less than 48 hours to open the temple doors. Whatever's meant to happen on the 21st, and it's likely a whole lot worse than Eye Abstergo, I think we'd all like very much to ensure it doesn't. Well, let's go see what's behind the big ominous door. End of the road. Literally.
Moment of truth.
Head towards the light.
Yes. Come. Here, at last. You know our story now. Of how we tried. Of how we failed. All our hopes extinguished. Save one. Your touch. A spark. A spark to save the world.
Wait! Do not touch the pedestal.
Minerva?
You. But how? You left. You destroyed the device.
Did you think there was only one?
What the hell is going on here?
You must not free her.
Free her?
Juno dwells within these walls, awaiting release. I will explain. While we worked to save the world, she sought instead to conquer it. She used our machines to set her plans in motion. Divination through numbers. There is a pattern to existence. To comprehend the calculations is to tame time. This was my focus. And so I built the eye to aid us. But she turned it towards her own ends. When we discovered her treachery, we put a stop to it. And then we left. But first we called to you, that you might try again. We thought it would be safe with her gone. Now I see we were deceived. She survived, she endured, and then she began to work. For centuries, Tinny and I walked the world, hoping to rekindle the spark of civilization. We shared what we knew as best we could. We were not the only ones, but for all the power we wrought, still death would claim us. But before it did, I would have one last look to know if we had succeeded.
That's how you're here now?
I had hoped you might find this place and finish our work. But it is too late. You and the Templars have squabbled over our refuse. You have wasted centuries, and so you have lost your chance. You cannot hope to stop the end now, Desmond. Only to survive.
She's lying! Only touch the pedestal and the world will be saved.
Better the world burn than she be loosed upon it.
Is that so? Show him then.
But he will not understand. It is complicated. It is...
Show me.
If you heed Minerva, the sun will have its way. The ground will crack and spit fire into the skies. All the world will burn. But this does not end the world, merely heralds its arrival. Darkness follows. Then you emerge, resolving to lay a foundation that such a tragedy does not befall the world again. You will become a symbol to those who survive. Hope, knowledge, determination. You will inspire them to rebuild, to thrive once more. And as the world heals, so too will humanity. But you are just a man, frail and mortal. You pass from the world, leaving behind only a memory. A legacy. You will be remembered first as a hero, later as a legend, and in time, as a god. It is the cruelest fate, to have written words that meant well, and see them made wicked and unwise. What was meant to encourage life, used instead to justify taking it. And so now you see that what was shall be again. So tell me, how is this better? She would sacrifice you, sacrifice the world, for no other reason than to deny me vindication.
They will enslave your kind, Desmond. Is this not why you fight? Is this not why you came here? To ensure more than just your race's future, but its freedom?
What future? What freedom? Billions dead and the whole cycle begun anew? This world has known nothing but heartache and horror since we left it.
Our gift to them, and you'd see it all returned.
Enough!
You must not do this.
Whatever Juno's planning, however terrible it might seem today, we'll find a way to stop it. But the alternative, what you want, there's no hope there.
If you free her, you'll be destroyed.
It will happen in an instant. There will be no pain.
You mustn't.
It's done, Minerva. The decision's made.
Then the consequences of this mistake are yours to live and die with.
You need to go. All of you. Now. Get as far away from here as you can.
Come with us. We'll find another way.
There isn't time.
Son.
You know it's true. It's already started. I need to do this now. So go. Go!
It's some sort of global aurora borealis. Never seen anything like this before. Eyewitnesses describe electrical storms and erratic displays of unusual weather. Residents are being asked to remain inside and wait for geological surveys are now reporting seismic activity throughout the Ring of Fire. Northeastern Canada is said to be experiencing the largest on record. Satellites and transformers are failing as the flare increases in intensity. Worldwide reports of blackouts seems to be receding. Residual seismic and volcanic activity is being reported, but nothing approaching earlier levels. Obviously, it'll be a while before experts are able to assess the full extent of the damage caused by today's event. But it appears the worst is behind us. We'll be sure to bring you more as this story develops.
It is done. The world is saved. You played your part well, Desmond. But now it's time that I played mine.
And that is Assassin's Creed 3 and the end of the Desmond story. I love this game. Having just replayed it now, I hesitate to say it's my favorite. It's definitely one of my favorites anyway. Which is kind of unfortunate because when this game originally released, it got very mixed reviews. And a lot of the negativity was pointed toward Connor. I think part of that was really because a lot of people were so used to Ezio's character, because after all, we had just had 3 games with him. But this game was so different. We had a new assassin, a new time period, a new location, reinvented gameplay mechanics, new gameplay mechanics. I think because it was so different, it took a while for people to adjust to it. And especially with Connor. I mean, you know, Ezio was the suave ladies' man. You know, he had... But with Connor was basically the total opposite. I mean, if you look, the only real time you see Connor smiling is with the homestead. Any music? Oh, no, there's kind of some music. It's very faint. But I like the time period. I like the time period, and I like the fact that they decided to go with a Native American's perspective on the Revolution, since that's something you don't really see a lot. And I also really like how they try to show, you know, the Templars aren't completely evil. The assassins aren't completely good. It's kind of just like the British and the Patriots. You know, you could justify both meaning. You could justify both sides. It just really depends on a matter of perspective. Which is why I really like the sequence where Connor and Haytham team up. You really get to see them both try and contradict each other and try and persuade the other that their side is righteous. And that's kind of the thing about the whole series, really. You know, it's all a matter of perspective. You could argue that the Templars are in the right. You could argue the Assassins are in the right. But it all depends on how they go about it in order to achieve those goals. And as to Connor's character, I think, again, because everything was so different and he was so different from Ezio, that I think a lot of people kind of just gave his character kind of surface view. Like they only saw... They didn't really dig into his characteristic and meaning behind his actions. Like, the sequence where you have to stop the Patriots from attacking his village, and then you have to stop his village from attacking the Patriots. I mean, that basically just shows, you know, he wants basically what's best for his people. That's the driving force between all of his decisions. His people come first, like he says. And the problem is, you know, the Patriots don't really put his people first. they put the, the rich white man first. And the problem is, especially in that sequence, it's like, yeah, there are natives that are helping the British, so they have to put a stop to it. Well, Connor's village just happens to be in the way of that plan. And so he goes to try and stop the messengers from doing, which he does, but then just to find out that, oh, Charles Lee, unknown Templar, is leading some of his village warriors to go attack the Patriots. And so, of course, between some half-truths and misunderstandings, basically just falls apart. And that's the thing, while he agrees with the Patriots, he agrees with their cause, but it's obvious that they don't necessarily agree with his motives. And that's the thing about the American Revolution. I'm American, so of course, it's easy for me to say, yeah, America, freedom, woo, patriotism. But at the same time, you acknowledge that, yeah, America wasn't the greatest when it was starting out. I mean, just look at Sean and Desmond's banter about the whole Founding Fathers and why the war started and all that stuff. It's easy to just say, yeah, America was good, the British were evil, but at the same time, British were kind of justified. And the Americans did some shady stuff as well. And again, I like how they decided to go with Connor as a native in order to see both sides. It's obvious that he would be drawn more toward the Patriots' end, but as we can see near the end of the game, he started having a falling out with Washington. And I'm kind of wondering if maybe I'll make a video on analyzing Connor as a character. Of course, if I do, that won't be open for a while anyway. But anyway, I'm rambling. I like this game. I like the naval combat, of course, which obviously played a huge part in the next game. I like the time period. I liked Connor, even though I'm probably in the minority on that opinion. I like the fact that, especially in this one, they kind of really emphasize the duality between the Assassins and Templars. Especially with the fact that you got to play as both Hatham and Connor, and then you got to work side by side. What else? I like the homestead missions. Because it kind of feels like you're building a very well connected community. Like when you have to defend Ellen from her abusive husband, when you get to participate in a wedding, all that good stuff. It just goes to show that, yeah, this is a fledgling country that can eventually grow into something great. And I also like the music on this too. Especially this theme right here. Really gives that kind of Native American colonial feeling. Some people complain that the combat kind of became too simplified in this and too easy. And I can understand, but at the same time, they still gave you different people that you had to counter differently. Like, you have the brutes where you can't counterattack, you have to break their defense. You had the commanders where you had to disarm them. So yeah, it may have but, and then again, You could argue that it's become simplified ever since Brotherhood when they put in kill streaks. But honestly, it's just fun to attack 15 people with a tomahawk. Admit it. Naval combat was, of course, good and fun, which is one thing everyone pretty much praised when this game came out. And, of course, it did play into Black Flag, of course. And again, I also like that because he was a native. I don't know if I'm repeating myself, but you got to see through Connor that the Patriots aren't the big, righteous people that many Americans may see them as. You know, it was a different time period, of course, and there were different priorities with the American Revolution, you know. If you think about it, you know, when you think of the American Revolution, you probably basically think of the Patriots fought for freedom, the British tried to oppress them. And this shows basically what actually went down, so to speak. You know, the natives, again, going back to the Sullivan Expedition, some of them tried to stay out of it, but because of the Sullivan Expedition happened, people like the Onondaga in that entry, they basically sided with the Loyalists because, well, the Patriots burned down their homes. And kind of tying into that, I like how Connor's basically, what am I saying? His obsession with getting Charles Lee is kind of justified. You know, when it starts out, of course, he thinks Charles was the one that burned his village and killed his mom. And, of course, finding out that he's also a Templar, aka the people that the assassins are supposed to fight against, and that the assassins, the people that he was told to seek out by the spirit, you know, it just makes more sense of why he would become obsessed with killing him. As well as the fact that when he tells Haytham, with Haytham, he said, what was it? My mother's blood may stand in others' hands, but Charles Lee is no less a monster, and all he does is by your command. He still sees the Templars as evil. Even though he wants his father to understand why he prefers the assassins and why he wants them to get to work together. But it just shows that, you know, Templars, they're evil. They're the ones that wanted to take his land. They're the ones that he was told to fight against. Connor, he says, my enemy is a notion, not a nation. And how he sides with people like Washington because they fight for freedom. But the thing with Connor is, he doesn't fight just for freedom. He fights for freedom for all people, not just the whites or the Americans. Because he even told Haytham, you know, I hope the loyalists... It is wrong to pledge loyalty to a person, whether to the British Crown or the Templar Cross, and I hope the Loyalists realize this one day, for they are also victims. Yeah, he fights for freedom for all people, not just America. And unfortunately for him, you know, the world is more complex because of that. That's why, you know, he feels like he failed. Because his people were driven out by the Patriots. The one people that he thought would save them ended up driving them away. There's also a video. There are also some videos on YouTube of Connor's epilogue speech. This little recording that apparently didn't make it into the final game, which is unfortunate. But you can also read it in the novelization of Assassin's Creed 3 as well. I might either link a video in the description, or I might add it to the playlist. I don't know. But anyway, I suggest you look that up. It's basically a Assassin's Creed 3 Connor epilogue speech. So, what else to say? It's a good game. Definitely worth a play. As for my next video, I'm probably going to do the Tyranny of King Washington next, but unfortunately, I'm going to be out of town for the weekend, and I'm not going to be back until maybe Monday. So my next video is either going to be Monday evening, depending, or depending on when I have to work, it might not be till Saturday. Because I know I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evening. Friday, I'm most likely gonna. So, it all depends, really, on work. So, it might be a full week before I get another video out, unfortunately. But, guess it's a good thing I finished this game now. Here we go. Here comes the ending. Poor Richard Dominic. ...2012, so it's been almost 5 years now, wow. The war is over. Huh, new upgrade recipe. And a new painting. What else do we got? New multiplayer. Let's see what we got. Let's see. Cartridges. Saddlebags. Poison darts, quivers, rope darts. Trip mine. Let's go look around. Oh, it's open. We have some costumes. We have Altair's for completing all main missions with all optional constraints. Ta-da! Let's go back to Connor. There we go. Benjamin Church. Johnson. Hatham. Charles. Wait, you're supposed to have buried that, Connor. You need to have buried that. This is a paradox. Let's see what the paintings are. Ooh. That's not a painting, but know-it-all. Won this keepsake for completing every main mission at 100% synchronization. Yay. Boston Tea Party. First Expedition. Hunting Society. Ship Shape. Brawlers. Thieves. Assassin Recruits. Liberating Forts. Exploring Frontier. Kids at 100%. Exploring Boston. Exploring New York. Upgrading the Homestead. Selected this one. Privateer. That is Chesapeake Bay. This is Church. That is New York. Excelsior! Ooh. Earn Ben Franklin's painting for completing sequence 12. Really? You get his painting for finishing the game? Oh. Speaking of which. Ah, can be the frontiersman. I call bullcrud. I finished like 5 deliveries. There's no way that's only 32%. Seriously. You guys saw it. I completed like 3 of them. And then I did another 2. Anyone to talk here? Doesn't look like it. Path is over here. Father Timothy?
Is he all right?
I should say so. It appears he's coming here
Coming here?
for a visit.
Terry.
Coming for a visit? Oh, me cousin Jock. What a time
Oh,
we'll
that's
have.
grand, that is. Your favourite cousin.
He
Oh,
looks
that's
to arrive
nice.
in a week or two.
Oh, it'll be grand to see them again.
We'll have to start cleaning the house.
Hey, we should have some kind of celebration for them. Why not? See, that's another thing. I like all those little, just, background conversations that you can just walk up on. Just shows your homestead people kind of mingling with each other. Really gives character. Speaking of which, where is everybody? Are you at the inn? Oh, there's Dr. White over there. Oliver and Corinne. Did you bring out the pig? I swear. Nope, get down, get down. I'm gonna watch you, Oliver.
We have a fresh barrel of Roman from New York. Prime stuff.
Bring out the pig. I'm watching you, mister. I can stand here all day.
We have
What
a
you gonna
fresh
do?
barrel of Roman from New York.
You said that already.
Prime stuff.
God dang you. Now you're just playing with me. Big Dave, what are you up to? Ah. Making some more wheels, huh? Ellen! Mending anything? Oop. Where is Ellen, anyway? Kinda stuck there, honey. Well. Let's head over to New York. Hey, our hood's up now. What's up with this mission? Down by the harbor. Yep, Patriots now own New York. 1783, I believe the war is over now. Or just about. Hey, Piggy.
Well, that is true, but it is hot.
Never mind, Connor. Sorry.
Name the manor, sir.
America has no need for
Send
your
them back to
services,
Britain in a
gentlemen.
box! Death to the oppressor!
Cut them down!
The war's over, but who's truly free? Evacuation Day, November 25th, 1783. Evacuation Day was the day that the British troops sailed out of New York City at the end of the American Revolution. Not to be confused with Evacuation Day in Massachusetts, where the British sailed out of Boston Harbor near to the beginning of the Revolution. While the Treaty of Paris formally ended the war in early September, the British took some time to pack up their belongings and leave their stronghold at New York, mainly because many loyalists found a sudden need to leave the country, and so there were more people to carry than they originally anticipated. Plus, they probably wanted some time in duty free. Of course, the British are known for being practical jokesters, and so they couldn't resist getting a few friendly parting shots. Before they left, troops nailed a Union Jack to a flagpole on the bowling green, and then greased the pole. Undaunted, the Americans nailed up spikes to help them climb, managing to raise stars and stripes before the British fleet had sailed out of sight. After that, climbing a greased flagpole to tear down a Union Jack would be part of New York's Evacuation Day festivities, proving that you were American needs better hobbies. The other British parting shot was a literal one. A British ship fired a cannonball at the crowds on Staten Island, who were jeering at the departing flotilla. Nobody was hurt. The ball fell short of the land, but it's sometimes called the last shot of the American Revolution. Evacuation Day isn't much celebrated anymore. It fell out of favor when Thanksgiving was moved to the end of November in 1863. So almost 100 years later. The Treaty of Paris, signed in 1763. This is the treaty that ended the war between Britain and the United States. Shouldn't it be 83 then? Not to be confused with the Treaty of Paris of 1763, which ended the French and Indian War, or the Treaty of Paris of 1810, which ended the French War with Sweden. Paris loves the treaty. The fighting between the American and British forces had mostly ended by 1781, with Cornwallis' surrender at Yorktown. This agreement formalized the end of the war and declared the United States as a new nation, with the 13 colonies as 13 new states. The treaty also provided for the release of prisoners of war on both sides, a return of seized property to loyalists and patriots alike, and an expansion of the boundaries of the United States. Of course, the reality was a bit more complicated. Both sides refused to return property that theoretically belonged to the other, like a messy divorce and some easy listening CDs. And as to the offer of expanded territory, well, Spain had other ideas about whose land it was, as did the indigenous peoples living there. Speaking of which, Washington! We need to have a little talk. The Battle of Trenton. Stunning victory. General Washington surprises Haitian forces at Trenton. Hundreds of prisoners taken. In a daring raid, General George Washington has in one coup overcome months of reversals and achieved a marked victory. In the teeth of highly difficult conditions, the general was able to assemble some thousands of troops and ford a Delaware River encumbered by floes of ice. Why am I getting this now? In fact, large numbers of his force was unable to complete the crossing, leaving the good general with less than half the troops expected for his raid. Nonetheless, the Continental Army marched through snow and sleet through the garrisoned Haitian town of Trenton. Many of the troops were without boots and were therefore forced to tie rags around their feet and to march through the snow thus, leaving dark tracks of blood as a marker of their determination. In Trenton, the Americans surprised a Haitian force of 1,500 groggy with sleep. The main American force under Washington entered Trenton from the northwest. He sent General Sullivan around the town to attack from the south and set additional forces in a position to the northeast, forestalling a Haitian retreat. The Haitians made a hasty attempt to form line in the town, but were under artillery fire from Captain Alexander Hamilton, as well as attack from front and rear from Washington and Sullivan. Soldiers joined with inhabitants of the town to shoot from house windows upon the Haitian gunners. During this firefight, the commander of the garrison, Colonel Rawl, was directly wounded. His troops retreated to an apple orchard and shortly thereafter surrendered. Nearly 900 Haitian troops were taken captive. In the fight, Lieutenant James Monroe was wounded, but not grievously. Some days before this expedition, Thomas Paine's pamphlet, The Crisis, was read aloud to these same men. Mr. Paine began with the phrase, "These are the times that try men's souls," and notes that, the harder the conflict, the more glorious the triumph. Colonel Rawl died from his wounds before the conflict's end. A message was found folded in his pocket, warning him of the American approach. A warning he fatally ignored. Wait. The Great Fire of New York. Why am I getting this now? Fire devastates Manhattan. Trinity Church burned. Rebels thought responsible. A great fire spread through New York on the 21st that being Saturday before last. The fire began near Whitehall Slip, likely in the Fighting Cock's Tavern, known for untoward behavior. A southwesterly wind quickly spread the flames north through the streets, putting many out of their homes. These citizens took what goods they could and found relative safety in the town commons. The wind then shifted and burned most of the city from Broadway to the Hudson. Burning ashes from shingles were carried by the winds across the street and to far buildings. The roof of Trinity Church soon caught fire and the church burned in minutes. With little fire department left in the city, the royal soldiers essayed to put out the flames, but these efforts were largely ineffective, and the fire raged through the night. Happily, St. Paul's Chapel was saved by volunteers bringing buckets of water to drench its roof. Very near 500 homes and buildings have been destroyed. Those responsible for the fire are unknown. However, it is no mystery that the rebels would wish difficulties for the king's soldiers, who have so recently and violently taken hold of the city. An investigation has been begun by General Howe. Yeah, I think you're a few years late on that. Hey, George.
Connor.
Commander,
It's good to see you.
you have what you set out for. What will you do with it?
A fair question. But if truth be told, I do not know. Men with far greater minds than mine will build this country's foundations. A task I am simply not equipped for. Have you played bocce before? I'm really growing quite fond of it. I think I'll have a green built at Mount Vernon when I return.
All that death and sacrifice, and you mean to leave the important tasks to better men while you play games? I might have expected it.
Connor!
Whether you think you are capable or worthy of the task, after the things you have done to ensure this outcome, you should not have the luxury of peace.
Wow, Connor. What do I still need to do? Anything? Visit every tavern in the frontier, New York and Boston. Dang it! Oh, crud. I'm playing Washington and Bocce? Okay. Didn't expect to be doing this, but okay. Well played.
Won't take long to win at this rate.
That is not your voice.
I'm happy with that.
So this is how we celebrate the end of a war. Bocce.
Nice take. Nice take.
That is not your voice. Ugh. Bump. God dang you.
Lady Luck is with me today.
Am I seriously gonna... No. You know what?
I got you figured out.
It's not your voice. That was a bad one. Dang it. Still. God dang it. I'm wasting my balls.
Puts the pressure on.
Many thanks for the game.
Round 3.
Got you now.
That is not your voice. It'd be nice if they actually had Washington's voice actor do these lines. Otherwise it just seems weird. Dang you.
I'll give you that one.
Why? That's your point. Oh, come on. There we go. He's gonna break it up now. Dang.
Won't take long to win at this rate.
Shut up. This is gonna be bad. Dang it, I helped him. How long does this go for? I'm seriously wasting time doing this. Why am I doing this?
I got you figured out.
No, you don't. Stop talking like someone else. Is that gonna do anything? Nope.
I'm happy with that.
Oh! He's gonna break it. Yep.
I got you figured out.
Shut up. That didn't really help.
Puts the pressure on.
He's got 2 balls though, so yep. Oh, you. You win. Visit every tavern in the frontier, New York, and Boston. Okay. Taverns. Start with this one. Get out of the hay. Shoulda known. I shoulda known there was something I missed. But to be fair,
Here's a rough fellow.
this is nice. Is that peg leg? Oh, no. Sorry. Your hat made me think. Sorry. Next. Time for some running, time for some running, time for some running through New York. Time for some running, time for some running. Why'd I go this way? Time for some running through New York. Ba ba da ba 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 da ba.
You'll not get through here.
I didn't do anything, I swear. I was just going to the tavern. I was just gonna go have a drink. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, lots of people here. Thanks, Dobby. Oh. I now have my hooded figure. Now then. So, how do you guys feel about America being a new country now? It's probably in the frontier. I could just fast travel to these, but then that's a lot of loading screens. War is over, but work is never done. Yay! There we go. Nice music. The Black Horse Tavern. Oh. To the frontier. Hey, Daniel Boone.
If you're hungry, I've extra.
No, thank you. Where is everyone?
Gone west. Been a while since they left. Seems some fella from New York was granted the land by Congress.
What?
Seeing it happen more and more. Government says they don't take land that's already owned, but
How could this have happened?
we're on our own now. No more merry English parts and labour, which means we gotta go at it ourselves. Gotta pay for it too. Selling land is quick and easy, not quite so nasty as taxes. And since some say they're what started the old war, ain't no rush to bring 'em back. Clever men, these new leaders of ours. They know not to push it just yet. Too soon for taxes. Too British.
Thank you.
Be safe.
Well, that's unfortunate. See you later, Mr. Boone. Boston. What do you got? What the heck?
All right, we're up and running. This code is hacked to all hell. Nicely hacked, but hacked. The worm found 3 pivots before failing, so we've got those. You need to locate the remaining pivots on your own from inside. The 3 we've got will triangulate the rest. It's a sweet bit of hacking on my part, if I dare say. Each pivot detects the others in proximity. There should be 12 total. Every one you find is supposed to produce a hex cipher, and that's what we're after. Once you find them all, we'll sequence the code, package the data, and Bob's your uncle. Now don't putz around too much in revolutionary America. I know it's tempting.
So I gotta find 12 pivots?
So I've planted 2 of our pivots. Not easy from my end, believe you me. But there they are. You can see those 2 activating a buried one. Kinda. If you drop the 3rd one we have, the buried pivot's precise location should resolve. Then go gather the hex cipher, rinse, and repeat. If you get a chance, I'd love to see Franklin's glass harmonica in person. Just a side note. Have fun!
Do I seriously have to connect online to do this? Yep. Well, unfortunately, I'm not connected. So, basically all this really does is, I think you just find pivots around stuff, and basically it just shows that, hey, at the end, Abstergo has Desmond's data, and they upload it to the cloud. But we've already been going for over an hour, and I don't feel like looking for these at the moment. So, I'm just going to end the video here. Season Changer hack unlocked. Huh. Newspaper. Who's new? Charles Lee was a British soldier who went on to be a major figure in the Revolutionary War. Lee's father was a colonel in the British Army, started his son off in a military career early. He was sent to a military academy in Switzerland during his formation years, and then in 1746, Lee became an ensign in his father's regime. Lee was sent to the colonies in 1755 to fight in the French and Indian War. He served under Edward Braddock and then later at Fort Ticonderoga, where he was injured in the fighting. Lee recovered and later fought at Fort Niagara. I'd always thought there was a lot of fights fought. He finished his time in the colonies with the British conquest of Montreal. He returned to England in 1760, possibly because he was seeking career advancement, named Major in 1661, and was sent to fight the Spanish in Portugal. Though his service record was good, Lee didn't receive praise on his return home. In fact, he was retired from the army at half pay. After that, he became a vocal critic of military higher-ups and the British Prime Minister, and found that his military career had inexplicably completely stalled. Frustrated with his lack of advancement with the British, Lee moved back to New York in 1773. He quickly became a supporter of the revolutionary cause, and in June of 1775, he joined the Continental Army with the rank of Major General. Lee began his service under the command of George Washington, which created, since Lee had some hopes of being named Commander-in-Chief of the Army himself. Given Lee's experience, he might have had a point, but he also had a lot of drawbacks. Most notable was his temper. Lee was quick to anger and had a habit of becoming very vocally and publicly angry when he didn't get his way. Bosses love that. Lee also had some rather odd personal quirks. He was exceptionally fond of dogs and was continually surrounded by them, in particular his much-loved Pomeranian. Never trust a man continuously surrounded by tiny dogs. He was also vain and liked tailored suits, but rarely washed them, meaning that he smelled little better than his animals, and worse according to some. Despite his failings, Lee was both a competent leader and popular with the troops. Washington recognized it and named one of the forts of the Hudson River Fort Lee in his honor. If Washington was hoping that just naming a fort after him smoothed over the rocky relationship, it amazingly didn't work. In fact, as time went on, Lee became less and less fond of Washington and became reluctant to follow his orders at all. When Washington retreated across New York and New Jersey in 1776, he sent several commands to Lee to follow him, which Lee did, but very slowly, which may be what resulted in him being left behind and captured by the British in 1776. Still, it's understandable. He probably had to stop every 5 minutes to let his bloody dogs piss in a hedge. Fortunately for Lee, he had resigned his commission in the British Army shortly after taking on his role in the Continental Army. That meant instead of being tried for being a deserter, his imprisonment in New York was more than an inconvenience. He was wined and dined by the British, allowed to have whomever he wanted as a dinner guest. It was basically a bed and breakfast. In return, Lee gave up information about the state of the Continental Army. When Lee was finally released from New York, he was convinced that the Continental Army couldn't hold its own against the British, and told Congress so. However, when Washington decided to go ahead with plans to attack the British column at Monmouth, Lee insisted on being in charge. Once the battle began, Lee ordered his soldiers to retreat. Modern historians are still debating the reasons why. Maybe he'd forgotten his doggy treats in the tent and needed to go and get them. Washington swept in and took command, turning a complete rout of his army into a draw, and Lee received a very thorough and public dressing down. Afterward, Lee demanded an apology or a court-martial to clear his name. Washington chose the court-martial, which didn't go as Lee had hoped. He was found guilty of misbehavior before the enemy, making a shameful and disorderly retreat, and disrespect to the commander-in-chief. He was only given a year's suspension for the crimes, but by the time the year was over, he'd been so vocal in his criticism of Washington that Congress removed him from the army permanently. Lee retired to his estate in Virginia, passing his time breeding more dogs. After his death, he was given a full military funeral, getting all the respect he'd craved, too late to do anything with it. So yeah, that is the end of the main campaign for Assassin's Creed 3.
Do something about him.
I just wanted to come up here and get a nice screenshot for the end. I'm sorry. I'm a big stupid head. You can't catch me. You cannot catch me. Maybe you can. Poof. Come here.
The best products come directly from the Rhineland.
Just wanted to end on a cool shot. Like right here. If I remember correctly, I think this is where the Boston Massacre took place. So, we'll end it right here. If you liked this video, let me know in the comments. If you really liked it, press that cute little like button. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Luke Dog, and I'll see you next time.